Sandra Cisneros' poem, Once Again I Prove the Theory of Relativity, was first published in 1994. The poem is a celebration of romantic love. The female speaker imagines how excited and delighted she would be if her lover were to return. She lets her mind and heart contemplate all the things she would do for him and how well she would treat him, and relates how beautiful he is. She says she would dote on him and make sure she fully got to know him before he departed again, as she knows he would. Let's see the summary of the poem. The poem begins with the speaker imagining the return of someone she obviously loves deeply. Addressing the absent lover directly, she imagines how she would act toward him if he returned. First, she would treat him like a valuable work of art, such as a masterpiece by Matisse that had been considered lost. The speaker would also honor her returning lover by seating him on a couch like a pasha. A pasha was a Turkish title for rank or honor placed after a person's name. The speaker then says she would dance a sevillana, which is a dance from Seville, Spain, that can be performed by a single female dancer. She would also leap around like a Taiwanese diva. Diva literally means goddess, and the term is often applied by female vocal stars in pop and opera. Taiwan has a number of young female pop stars who are often called divas. They are known for their energetic and athletic performances on stage. Next, the speaker says she would bang cymbals like in a Chinese opera. Chinese opera makes frequent use of percussion instruments. The persona of the poem would also roar like a Fellini soundtrack. Federico Fellini was an Italian film director famous for innovative films. The poem's speaker says she would also laugh like a little dog in the nursery rhyme that watched a cow jump over the moon. The speaker continues to address her absent lover. If he were to return, she would be a clown and tell funny stories. She would paint clouds on the walls of her home, an image that presumably expresses her desire to show artistic creativity. She would put the best linen on the bed for him and observe him while he sleeps. During this time, she would hold her breath, which is a way of saying that she would be very quiet so as not to awaken him. The speaker breaks off from addressing her loved one directly and, using a series of similes, muses on the beauty of her beloved. Her beloved is like a color inside an ear, or like a conch shell. The third simile used to convey the beauty of her beloved is a nude by Modigliani. In the fourth stanza, the speaker returns to addressing her beloved. She declares that this time she will cut off some of his hair so that even if he leaves her again, some part of him will remain. This image sparks a memory for the speaker of how soft her lover's hair is, the softest that can be imagined. The speaker continues with another set of actions she would perform if the beloved returned. She would present him with flowers and fruit, including parrot tulips and papaya. Parrot tulips have petals that are feathered, curled, twisted, or waved. The flowers are large and brightly colored. The speaker then says she would laugh at the stories her returning lover told, though she could equally well be silent in his presence. She knows her lover is aware such an act of silence in his presence is normally hard for her. The speaker seems to have no illusions about her lover. She knows when he grows tired of her or the place they live, he will leave. He would go anywhere, and she names places far away and near. Projecting into the future, the speaker imagines what she will gain by her lover's return, even if he later departs again. She will have savored him like a tasty food, memorized everything about him, and tasted his essence. She will have learned him by heart. Here the poet plays on the usual meaning of the expression learn by heart, which means to learn by memorizing. Since the poet has already mentioned memorizing, this phrase placed here means that the speaker learned all about her lover through her heart, through love. The speaker's conclusion is that when her loved one leaves, all her knowledge and love of him will yield their fruit in the poetry she will write. He will become her muse. The title of the poem, Once Again I Prove the Theory of Relativity, is meant humorously. It refers to Albert Einstein's special theory of relativity published in 1905 and his general theory of relativity developed in 1915 and 16. Using calculations based on the postulate of the uniform speed of light and the relativity of motion, Einstein showed that time is measured differently for people moving relative to one another. At speeds of light, time would slow to near zero. In the popular mind, Einstein's theory, which is too complex for most laymen to understand in detail, has given rise to the idea that under certain circumstances, time might flow backward rather than forward. The actual physics of this notion is not important for the poem. Cisneros merely uses the idea as a jumping off point for her speaker to imagine that, since time might run backwards, her lost lover might return. Using this premise, the poem explores the many ways in which love can be expressed and the lover can appreciate the beloved. There is an emphasis on the freedom love brings, as well as the feelings of exultation and lightness, of exhilaration, and of the intensity of sensual experience. This kind of love animates a person and enlivens her physically. Love is exciting. It makes the persona of the poem dance and leap with enthusiasm and do things she would not normally do. Love energizes. The love revealed by the poem is also a grand sentiment, an expansive emotion. It stimulates in the lover the flamboyant expression of her feelings, and it can also enlarge her beyond her normal self and beyond her usual cultural boundaries. She can be a Spanish dancer or a Taiwanese diva, or she can take part in a Chinese opera. Her voice can be like the roar of music on a film soundtrack. When she loves, she leaves her small individual self behind. She becomes universal. Certain kinds of love, such as intensely felt romantic love, tend to worship and idealize the beloved. Such is the case in this poem. The persona idealizes the beauty of her lover. She is so enchanted by him that she would be content simply to watch him sleep. She wants to cut off a lock of his hair so that part of her beloved will always remain with her. She would do whatever he wanted. Her own needs would somehow slip into the background as she spent all her energy attending to him, honoring him being the woman that she thinks he wants her to be. She would not be angry when, tired of her attention, he left again. She honors his restless spirit and would accept his loss without rancor. At least she would have her memories.